Facebook. All right. Welcome everybody to our 5-day more time challenge. Our goal is to help you have lots and lots and lots more time. And so be thinking about what would you want to do if you had more time. I'm going to ask you in a minute your thoughts. However, before we dive into the content today, just a little overview. So you do have this in your calendar for 30 minutes. I am going to wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, in the first 15 minutes and give you all the content. So it's not my preferred style to just go, go, go. I'm much more, let's have some conversation and interaction, discussion. However, what I find is this way, if people can only be here for the first 15 minutes, or they want to watch it quick on the video, they can do that. And so as we go through today, if you have questions, jot them down. And at 15 after the hour, 3:15 here in Florida. I know some of you are in different parts of the world, but 15 minutes after, we will stop the content and then we will go to a Q&A session. So I want to make sure I get your questions answered. So 15 minutes of content, 15 minutes of Q&A. And some people are like, man, Tiffanie, that's a lot. We're going to go, go, go. Yes. Though most of us already have a massive issue with needing more time. So I didn't want to take up a lot of time to help get you where you need to be. So that's what we are going to go. Now, this 5-day more time challenge actually comes out of our 13-month-a-year program. And so our 13-month-a-year program, the goal is more time, but where we come up with the 13th month, what we do. So we have 13 plus 13 equals 28. Which that math doesn't work, but it's 13 weeks is how long the 13 months a year program is, where you get an extra 13 hours a week. Now, when you multiply that times 52, it's like 600 and something hours, which is 28.3 or something days. So that actually gives you an extra month, like February. Will you be able to get an extra 28 days in this 5-day challenge? I don't know, depends on how good you are, but my hope is at least if we can get you an extra couple hours a week. So we may not be able to do everything that is the 13-week program, but we're going to give you some of our top tips to hopefully help you get started and get more time. That's our goal. And this first tip that I'm going to share with you, while it may not make a difference in how much time you have, it definitely will make a difference in your brain. So in module 4, week 4 of the 13 months a year program. It's called Sock It to Your Calendar. I got to get the socks in as much and as frequently as I possibly can. Y'all know me, love the socks. So in this module, we have several conversations. And what we're going to do is pull from that a conversation around being busy. By a show of hands, do you ever feel like you're too busy? And what does busy or overwhelmed, how does that make you feel? Probably overwhelmed. It's like, oh. And so when you look at your calendar, if it's packed, it's like, oh, I'm so busy today. There's so much going on. And so the shift that we want to make when it comes to your calendar, so we can be a little bit more zen, a little bit more relaxed, is we want to take a look at overwhelmed, busy, gone. We are now going to be well scheduled. So as you look at your calendar, you know, I'm well scheduled. There's everything going on here. Now, a couple of tips that I have for helping that well scheduled calendar. One thing that I found, like the first couple of weeks when we were doing Zoom in March of 2020, I was just exhausted because I was back-to-back meetings. So 8 to 8:30, 8:30 to 9, 9 to 10. And it's like, oh, I need to, you know, refill my water or go get rid of all the water in my body that I've been drinking. Let my dog out. You know, there's the stuff that I needed to do. And it was just like, oh. So what I've started doing is I've scheduled 15-minute buffers most of the time. Now, not always, but the way my calendar app works is it won't schedule calls back to back. So there's that 15-minute buffer. So if I'm a minute or 2 or 5 late on the call, no big deal. I can be there early so we can start on time. And then it gives me, you know, 5-10 minutes in between. And I can either answer emails or say hi to people on social media, check and see what's going on in the world. And so those boundaries in my calendars, that little gap between my appointments, has been a huge mental saver. And every time I look at my calendar, so there's a lot going on. However, I'm well scheduled. Today, 7 a.m., 8 a.m. I've been, it's a very packed day, but I'm well scheduled and I know I've got the time to take care of myself. So we really want to begin to think about, okay, get rid of busy, get rid of overwhelmed, and think I am well scheduled. And sometimes people are like, but busy is good, isn't it, Tiffanie? Well, so here's where my referral marketing side wants to come in and share a little bit with y'all. I called someone one time to give them a referral. Hey, how's it going? To start the conversation. And I got like a 2 to 3 minute tirade of all the things that were going on and how they were so busy. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. Hung up the phone, called the next person in my network that I knew that did what she did. Cause I'm like, all she did was just tell me about how busy she was. And if she's that busy, is she gonna have time for my referrals? So that's our kind of first step. We want to switch our mindset to being well scheduled instead of busy. Now's the time to grab the chat box, because the next question I want you to ask or answer is, what are your goals? If you had more time, what would you do with it? Because I know several years ago, I was working with a health coach, Danielle. She's still my health coach. And she's talking about, I want you to move for 30 minutes a day. And I'm like, I'm not exercising for 30 minutes a day. I don't have time for that. But as I was tracking my time, I'm like, oh, I totally have time for that 30 minutes a day. And actually now I'm on a good day, usually doing like an hour yoga class or going to the ice rink for an hour. Used to, you could go to the ice rink for like 2 hours for free skate, but when COVID happened, they made it an hour. And I'm like, yeah, they just want us in and out. Anyway, so begin to put in the chat box, what are some of your goals? What would you do with more time? And some things I know are a luxury, but could we schedule some of these things that are important for us in our calendar? I find most time we can make it happen. There's always the time as long as we make it a priority. So we're putting in the chat box. What are some of the things that you want to do with your time? Now, for those of you that are watching this on Facebook or on YouTube, put it in the comments. I mean, we won't respond to it right away, but would love to see, what your plan is. What would you do with an extra hour a day? Walk more. Yep, that's a really great one. Self-care, more time to just relax. Yes, I've got a new hobby that I'm in love with, diamond dots. I've just started like 4 months ago, and I'm like, oh, these are totally fun. Nice little take the mind off of things. Jennifer wants more time on the water. Take a dance class. Ooh, what kind of dance class? Road trip and a new language. So now I want to know what kind of dance and what kind of language. More beach time. Ooh, puzzles. Travel more and get healthier. So there's lots of things that we want to do with our time, and that's awesome. I think it's important for us to know what our goal is so that we can nurture it and grow it. For Charles, his goal was more time to attend CrossFit. And he did CrossFit and he had lost 29 pounds when he was like, hey, Tiffanie, thanks for the time. I can do CrossFit. I'm not crazy like that. Not that you're crazy if you do CrossFit, but to each their own, whatever works for them. All right, let's switch gears here a little bit. And I want to talk, how do we escape from email hell? And during the module, we talked several things about how to reduce the emails you get, the time that you spend, the emails in the inbox down to 0, plus how to get people to actually respond to email. But what I want to talk about specifically is all these notifications. Technology, it's almost become this, has us in a stronghold. It's like, nope, you're trapped, done. And really, if we think about it, the intention of technology is not frustration. It's supposed to be to help us out. And so what's the impact? Here's the thing. Every time this little smart device goes off and it dings and you look at it, even if you don't pick it up, every single time you are distracted by that smart device, it takes you 64 seconds to get back focused. And that may not seem like a long time, but what I'm going to do, so if you're driving while you're watching this, please don't stop driving. But for the rest of us, put down anything you've got, no pen, no paper, no drinking, no eating, nothing. I want you to just be here for the next 64 seconds to see how long it takes you to get back focused every time that phone goes ping or the notification pops up on the screen. And we're only 20 seconds in. We still have like 2 times more to go. Finally, that was a really long time, wasn't it? So imagine every time your phone goes off, every time you're on the computer and it dings on Facebook, on LinkedIn, the email thing pops up and says, you have a new email. It takes you 64 seconds to get back focused. You're distracted. And so all this, I know it's like great for the dopamine, ding, 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 like people love me, yay. It ain't good though. You're being distracted. And so I want you to turn it off. I want you to get your phone and turn off all the notifications that are not necessary. So for me, I have Facebook off, LinkedIn off, all of it off, except I do get phone calls and text messages. Those are the only 2 things that actually come into my world and make a noise, because I don't want it. I don't want the distractions. Sometimes when I'm working, the phone doesn't even come in the office. It's out there because I want to be focused on doing what I want to get done. And so I encourage you to turn off the notifications on the apps that you don't necessarily need. Now, how do you do that? I could tell you how to do it on the Apple, but for all of you non-Apple smartphone users, yeah, I don't know what's wrong with you and I have no idea how to use it. But here's the easy thing to do. Go to Google, put in how to turn off notifications in whatever phone you have, and it will pop up and it'll walk you through. I would think it'd be like a minute video, super easy to show here's how you turn off those notifications. Because we don't want that eternity of time to be, keeping you from getting more done. This made a huge difference for Justin, using this idea for Melinda, a huge difference for her as well. And so really, we just want to think about what can we do? For Dominique, who did this tip, it actually ended up getting her 60 to 90 minutes extra a day that she was able to do things. 5 to 8 hours a week. That's a huge, 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 huge difference. So those are a couple of tips. We have our will do. So we've talked about, we want to change our mindset from busy and overwhelmed to I am well scheduled. And we want to think about what is it we're going to do with our extra time, and maybe even start scheduling some of it in the calendar now. And third, turn off the unnecessary notifications so you can stay focused and get more done. So that's on our, those are our kind of tips from today for our will do. Stay tuned. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about how to get things done. And we're actually going to see how do we get these projects to go from halfway, a quarter of the way to completion. And I'm going to share an easy way to make decisions, like makes life so much simpler. What I would love to do is if you have in the chat box, if you want to do it, or if you're here with us live, if you want to unmute, I'd love to hear your ahas or your eTiffanies. And as you're writing those down and pressing the unmute button, this is the time where we're going to stop live. So thanks everybody that was here watching us live, as well as stop the recording. And then we will get a chance to ask some questions and hear your eTiffanies. So that's your 15 minutes. I feel like I've been talking really, really fast. Now it's time for you to talk and ask some questions. Thanks, y'all.